All right, y'all. We back with another video, man. Y'all already know what's going on. All right. Check this out, y'all. Now, I think since I started my sacrifice series on this channel a long time ago, I've had a lot of people ask me to cover Rob and Big, right? At the time, I don't know. I guess I just, it was like one of those situations where you know what happened, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it as far as, finding some of the things I usually can find about all this stuff, right? Just yesterday, they put out that Ridiculousness was canceled at MTV after 46 seasons. Now, I was like, whoa, I almost couldn't believe it lasted for 46 seasons at MTV. I said, man, so this was the cost of sacrificing his friend, Robin Big. And we're going to get into their relationship a little bit more because, as some of you may know, it wasn't all cracked up to be what it seemed on TV. Got a very interesting clip from Big Black himself where he talks about their relationship and how different it actually was compared to what the people saw. Also found a very interesting clip from Rob Dyrdek about how he came to his success, right? Very interesting. Now, Rob Dyrdek, 46 seasons, y'all. The man is worth over $200 million, y'all. We're talking about someone who was a pro skater. Obviously, he made his way to entertainment. He made his way to TV. But damn near unheard of for the, profession that he comes from, right? 200 million. MTV paid him, I think, 30 million a year and 60,000 per episode. And when I saw those numbers, I just couldn't help but think. So the price that he paid to get those kind of numbers was sacrificing Big Black. And we'll get into the official story of how Big Black supposedly died. And I think this would be a pretty interesting one for a Sunday video. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop talking. Check this out.
Rob and Big were not the happy-go-lucky best friends that they depicted on their MTV show. After the first 2 seasons, Big got tired of being Rob's puppet and one day exposed him on DJ Woo Kid's radio show.
There's a reason why they don't f with me no more, man. A total reason. Rob has a total ego problem, man. As long as I was playing that slave role on Rob and Big, everything was cool. When a nigga got big, got a little money in his pocket, then attitudes change.
But you didn't know that from the beginning. You had a small-ass room, dog. Come on, you should have known that right then.
But Woo Kid, on the real though, I never even lived there.
That was just the show.
I had a crib down the street, man. I never lived in this house.
I thought you got married and then you just wanted to be conservative.
No, man, I didn't get married, Woo Kid. I had a daughter. And like any other real man, when I had a daughter, I took care of my responsibilities. I bought my lady a house in Texas. I brought my daughter a house out there, and that's why I go back and forth. I was in L.A. last week. So for him to go on a radio show and tell you that he don't see me, I saw him 2 weeks ago in the street. I just don't talk with him like that. Rob is a totally different individual.
Wow.
I know that. I was around him for years. He was taking 80% of the sandwich. I was getting 20% of the sandwich. So there's the problem.
Chris says that Rob was being paid double what he was. Rob denies that. However, Rob was working 24/7 writing ideas for the show and guiding the production, where Big admits that he just showed up, brought the funny, and left. Him and Rob's downfall was relatively private. Rob never disrespected him publicly, but they didn't communicate with each other for a few years after this. Eventually, Rob and Big squashed their beef in 2011 and luckily remained good friends until Chris's unexpected death in 2017.
Now, it sounds like one of those typical stories of two people coming up in a sense together. One person having more like, control or authority over the situation, considering that he mostly wrote the shows and he helped with the production, or he was guiding the production. So the shows represented their visions. And if it's true that, Big Black was the one that just showed up and brought the funny and brought the different personalities, so on and so on, then, I guess one would say that it may be okay for Rob to get a bigger piece of the sandwich, as, Big Black said, but he may not feel that way. He knows what was actually done. The chemistry that they created is what sold the show. So in a sense, a real one would split more of the pie with you. But it goes to show, like, if you don't really come up with somebody, y'all not really, really cool like that, you're going to keep it all business and give them what you think they're worth. He said Rob became a completely different person. He started making millions, started making all that money, and he started changing. And when Big Black started getting bigger, he started getting a name for himself. He didn't want him to overtake what he had going on. And it probably got to a point where he already knew, in order for him to keep his life going the way that it was going and to see more success, which turned into the ridiculous show on MTV, which we just talked about, ran for 46 seasons, he knew he would have to make a sacrifice. You don't become worth $200 million or even have a show run that long on MTV if you don't give up something, right? And it's looking like it's clear as day that Big was sacrificed or murdered by the numbers. Let's check this out. Now, I damn near found this as I was, working on this video. I never noticed this. Big Black was born January 13th, 1972. He died May 9th, 2017 at the age of 45. Now, before I say it, what do you notice about this? The year that he is born is literally when he died, May 9th, 2017. Every number is right there. In 1972, 1972, died May 9th, 2017, 9217. They're all there. 1972. 1972 is literally in his death date. And it just so happened that his daughter was also 9 years old the day that he died. Well, at the same time that he died, May 9th, his daughter was 9 years old. Now, it says Boykin, which is his full name was Christopher Boykin, he had a defibrillator implant for his heart. In early May 2017, he was hospitalized in Plano, Texas, and was placed on a heart monitor. So they're saying he had that defibrillator for years before he died. That's what some of the articles say. It says on May 9th, his heart stopped. Out of nowhere, staff spent 30 minutes trying to revive him. He was pronounced dead at 4 p.m. Then it says, although initial reports did not mention an official cause, Boykin's heart failure was the result of a heart attack. Now, it's nowhere, saying that it's not possible, but it seems odd that in those initial reports, there was not an official cause, like a lot of these sacrifices from Hollywood be. And then they come out and they tell you that he died from a condition that he was already battling, which would have been heart failure. And of course, you look at his size, you look at him as being big and black and overweight, you're automatically gonna think, yeah, he died from heart failure. Yeah, he's 300 something, 400 pounds. Yeah, that's easy. He died from heart failure. So I thought that was very interesting, and it tells us a lot about Christopher Boykin's death. Now, with that being said, I got a short clip I want y'all to listen to about Rob and how he went to a hypnotist for success. And after that, became basically, the Rob that we know today and sent him on a path of success in Hollywood. Check this out, y'all.
I was 24 years old, and they were basically like, we're going to give you one more shoe and give you a 2-year contract to basically say thank you, and we think you're done. And I literally started searching for hypnotists, right? And I got hypnotized for success. And then literally in that 2-year span, became the best skateboarder of my entire career.
You really believe this hypnotist played a critical role in you becoming successful?
I believe so, yeah.
Now, this man just told you he saw a hypnotist. And right after seeing that hypnotist and being hypnotized for success, which I don't even know how that's possible, he became the best skateboarder he's ever been right afterwards. That sound like going to the crossroads and coming back being the best guitar player in the world. That story sounds just like going to the crossroads. Robert Johnson sounds like what musicians do. Sounds like he made a deal with the devil, and it wasn't just for skateboarding. Check this out. Found this article called movieweb.com. Crazy is I found the article when I was searching up something else about Rob Dyrdek. And just kept scrolling down Google, and this article says how one man swallowed up an entire TV network. They definitely gave Rob Dyrdek everything he ever wanted for his sacrifice and his deal with the devil. Now, he told you he'd already been hypnotized for success. He already made a deal. He already made a deal with the devil early on in his career and became an amazing skateboarder. Now, in this article, it says, unlike other channels that try to diversify their programming and fought tooth and nail to preserve their identity in a changing media apocalypse, MTV opted for a Faustian deal with one of their few bankable stars at the time, skating personality Dyrdek. Through his savvy and ambition, he overpowered and outsmarted an entire TV network until it became his personal business venture. Assimilated Borg style into his sports apparel media empire. Yeah, he's not the actual CEO, we know. He's even more powerful than that. Y'all see, the key term is Faustian bargain. I remember when we talked about Faustian bargains back with old dude Matthew Perry. Remember, he was on like a Sirius XM interview radio show or whatever, and he talked about making a Faustian bargain early in his life, right? Now, we know a Faustian bargain is basically a deal with the devil. Look, I just Googled on AI, what is a Faustian bargain? We already know what it is, but AI will tell you itself. A Faustian bargain is a deal where a person gives up something of supreme moral or spiritual importance, like their soul, for worldly benefits such as knowledge, power, or wealth. The term is named after the legend of Faust, a scholar who makes a pact with the devil to gain all worldly knowledge and pleasures for a set period in exchange for his soul. It is often used as a metaphor for any situation where someone sacrifices their ethics or values for tangible gain, y'all, for all of their desires. The cost is always extremely high, resulting in a tragic or self-defeating outcome. Y'all, this man made a deal with MTV for his life. Made a Faustian bargain. My soul for worldly benefits. All the wealth I can have. Remember, he's almost worth $250 million, y'all. He came from being a skateboarder. What an insane turnaround. And it's crazy because I probably wouldn't have did this video if I didn't see that the show, Ridiculous, was canceled after 46 seasons. So I'm glad I actually saw it because honestly, I think people ask me like every other, week when we talk about sacrifices to do Robin big. But I'm glad, I just saw that and we were able to actually get this video done because I never saw that article, and it always feels good when I see something that I didn't know about a situation that just really confirms it. And they actually told us that he did a Faustian bargain with MTV. Crazy, y'all. That's a crazy one. And I definitely believe Big, he was sacrificed for this man's success. crazy how it goes. And I mean, it hasn't been, hasn't been that long since Big died. It was only in 2017. So yeah, y'all, that's pretty much all I got for this one, without dragging the topic on. I thought y'all would like this one. Y'all, let me know what y'all think about this video, man. It's Sunday. I hope y'all had a good weekend. Y'all already know what's going on, man. We'll be back with another video tomorrow. With that being said, y'all, it's Black Balloon. And I'm going to see y'all soon, all right? I'm out.